Welcome back to Briggs on Books, our truly international talk show. We've been talking to authors this week from all over the world, from Scotland to India to Canada, all over the place. And we don't just have authors on, we have publishers, editors, book cover creators, everyone you need to talk to in order to get your book out. But the most important, my favorite part of this show is talking to people who've actually done it. They had an idea, they wrote their story down, they put their pencil down, and then they actually got it published. So it has to be another giant job in itself. Our next guest is a science fiction author, D.G. McCool Jr., indie author. I could call you Dale McCool?
Yes, sir. That'd be fine. Thank you.
Welcome, Dale. Where are you located right now?
I'm at a place called Trinity, Texas. It's about an hour and a half north of Houston.
Okay. Do they have football in Texas, by the way?
I heard they play that here.
Yeah.
I'm not real sure about it. Yeah, that's our pastime. You know that.
Every other block, I understand, but I love to watch
true.
Texas football. Now, tell us, Dale, I'm going to put up a book cover, Messenger of Dreams. Tell us about that book and about the series.
Yeah, that'd be this guy here. Yeah, Messenger of Dreams is the first book of a series called The Dark World. And what it's about is basically, actually, some of it's kind of coming true in today's media, but at the time it was written, it was about some people in the government who uncovered alien connections to our government and that they were putting together a new world order. There was a separate group of ancient people who were descendants of Sumerians who had a kind of their own sect who was trying to stop them. And so that's kind of where the whole story starts off. And throughout the series, it's a set of conspiracy, government takeover, aliens, cover-up, people being quieted and/or assassinated just to take care of keeping the story secret. And it works through a 4-book series, but Messenger of Dreams is the first.
Now, you say that some of it's coming. I love a book, science fiction book, when the things start happening or hints of it start happening in real life. But that's happening to you right now, I guess.
Right. Yeah, this book was released in 2021. It was actually written prior to that. And as you may know in the media in the last year, they're talking about UFOs and all these other things and alien bodies on ice. Yeah. And at the time I was writing this, that was all just part of this storyline.
Well, not only is that happening, but there's also conspiracies out there that, people are being silenced and assassinated and stuff like that. So,
right.
And, of course, your book's just a novel, right?
Absolutely, right.
Now, then it goes into the Ancient Ones Revealed. And,
right. That's book 2 of the series. Yeah. And basically, at the end of book 1, it's established all the characters and involved in the different plot lines in the first story. And the second story, we reveal that there are ancient reptilian aliens here on Earth, and that there were Anunnaki aliens who helped establish and create humans. And in the clay tablets of Sumeria, a lot of this was recorded 3,000 years prior to our established religious beliefs. And so in this book, they actually make contact, and some things and events take place in the second book. And they are the ancient ones who are revealed are the reptilian aliens on Earth.
And again, we've heard these, I think Tucker Carlson was on the other day saying, I've heard some things that could rock our whole religion. So there's been some talk about that for a while. And then here's another book cover. I love your covers, by the way. That's why I'm putting them on the screen. Warriors of the Heavens and Earth. Right.
And this is book 3 of the series. And basically, by the time you get to this book, the aliens have came out from under the cover, so to speak. But the reptilians have the ability to look like humans. Mm-hmm. And they're able to then seize control of the governments around the world. A world war starts with Russia attacking its neighbors, China attacking its neighbors. But they're really being controlled by the reptilians, and it's all part of a new world order that's fallen into place. And then over here on our side, there's millions of people coming from the south, north, and crossing our borders, and it's all fictitious, but that's all part of the war. And the reason it says heavens and earth, and the aliens above get involved, and the people on the ground, Yeah.
Well, that's a great part of science fiction, is presented in a way where it's believable, where it could actually be something that happens.
Right.
And that really helps move the story along. Now, the Dark World.
Yeah, that book is actually being released next month, but just kind of it's kind of a accumulation of the first three, picks up our same key characters where they're located at, and they end up in Australia, just as kind of to let you know. But if you're at the books and into book 3, you know that already.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like reestablishing the human race, the ones who survive, and trying to see what we can do to take back our planet.
Yeah. I tell you, Dale, I don't read a lot of science fiction or fiction at all, but you've intrigued me with these books. I'm going to read them.
Sure, great.
I'm going to get book 1 right away and get started with it. Now, are you creating realms that don't exist, or is it kind of mixed in with our current natural world?
Yeah, it's based kind of on our natural world, but if you believe in a lot of the things that certain groups in our planet do believe, which were that there were superior ancient alien races here on the planet, that we are just a byproduct of some of that, and that religion and governments have been tweaked throughout history to control the human race, to make them basically modernized slaves to what the people in charge want. So you could lay it as a layer over reality, and then there's some things where there's magic used, and there's portals that take you to different dimensions, and talking to angels and things like this are in the books.
Fascinating, Dale. Now, I don't have another. You mentioned you have another book with another author as well. I don't see that I have that in front of me. But
yeah, I sent it in a separate email, so it may not get grouped together. It's called Future Conquests, and basically, it was really the first book. I kind of outlined it back in the late 70s when I was playing a role-play game called Traveler. Some people are familiar with that game, but it's kind of like a Dungeons & Dragons thing in space. And I completed a complete outline for that, and it was called Future Conquest, and it kind of set still from 30 years. And then me and a friend of mine, Stephen Meeks, who's the co-author of the other book, we sat down in 2010 and started drafting up a space opera. And we kind of made it a little bit of a tongue-in-cheek at first, kind of a parody to Star Wars, Star Trek, Battlestar Galactica, all these different shows. And then later I took the Future Conquest outline and laid over it, and then edited everything to fall into that world that I created in the 70s. And it came out pretty well. A lot of people like it, and it's a book 1 of a series. I only helped on the first book, and then Stephen's been working on a book 2 for a little while, but I kind of focused more on my other books. But it's a great book also. Yeah,
it sounds fascinating as well. I want to concentrate, go back to the Dark World, the series, the Dark World.
Sure.
Do you, do you know where it was going to start and where it was going to end? All 4 books, or did that develop as you went?
Right. No, that's a really great question. When it first started out, I wrote a couple short stories, and one was about a character who found the ancient clay tablets and was able to decipher and found out there was some actual things in there that humans hadn't found out, and part of it was the ability to reincarnate outside of what they do in the Hindu world. This was through the Sumerians in Mesopotamia. And then I had a separate book about a character who was enchanted with magic, who then could see people's auras, their colors of their aura, know if they're good or bad, and he happened to be a police officer. So this helped him investigate crime. And then I took those 2, merged them into the first book, Messenger Dreams, and I'm an outliner, but I'm a pantser. So I outline basically by writing first my prologue and then the epilogue. I write both of those first. And then I take off on a pantser mode and end up at the epilogue. And then once it's done, and part of what I do is I see a lot of things visually. So I put on this headset, I open up a word processor, and I see a vision like I'm watching a movie, and I repeat what I'm seeing onto the text. Then I go back and listen back through the audio read off the text, and then I clean it up, and then I use the tools like Grammarly and some other tools to make it real. Then I'll go to the next piece, and I literally see all my books like movies, and I don't know where they're going. I'm watching a movie, and I'm just repeating the visions I'm seeing, and it comes out to what I got.
Now, are you saying you text type? You speak and type the...
Yeah, I do voice to text.
Nice,
and
voice to text.
Yeah, I do the voice to text while I'm seeing the vision in my head.
Yeah.
And then, it's like watching a movie. It's like you watching a movie on TV and you just repeat what you're seeing, and it goes into voice to text. Then I do the audio part of Microsoft Word, which will read it back to me. Because that's the point you've brought up and other people have brought up is, you can read 100 times and it sounds perfect.
Yeah.
Editor reads it, you see the gaps. But when I hear it played back to me,
Nice.
I hear those mistakes. Use the "the" instead of "thou" or whatever, and you can fix it on the spot. And once I've got my draft as well as I can do it, then I will hand it off to an actual editor. And I've got different editors, and they'll do the three major processes of editing. I use outside people to create those covers you're talking about. They'll create the covers for me, and I tell them, usually they have some stand-up ones. I'll tell them where I want tweaked, colors, changes, some of the imagery, and they'll make it for me. And then when I get all that back, I kind of do what one of your other authors do. I do it all myself now. My very first book, Messenger Dreams, and first incantation, I used an outside source. I saw what they did, and I paid a lot of money for it, and I said, I can do that. And so I use your KDP Amazon. I use your Ingram Spark. I use your Drafted Digital. These are three main companies where you present them with your book cover, you present them with your manuscript, and an ISBN number for the back, right? And tell them what you want to sell it for. And they will create ebooks. They'll create. Wow. I have all mine are in ebooks, paperback, and hardcover. Because I'm an old guy. I like hardcovers. Yeah. And so, and you could do it yourself. And I'm on all the platforms. I'm on the Amazons, the Barnes and Noble, Apple, Google. I'm everywhere. Yeah. Not a lot of people seem to know that, but I am there for when they're ready to buy.
My kids always roll their eyes when I start talking about the old days and how we had to do things. But it wasn't that long ago, 10, 20 years ago. If you wrote a book, you'd be writing it by hand on a yellow pad. Yeah. Now look where you are. That's great to hear. That's
the original Future Conquests was all handwritten in a pad with a pen.
Wow,
yep.
Amazing. Now, I know we're way past time. They're giving me the signal, but I have your website up there, Sandal Writers. Oh, yeah, I went there, and there's a few different authors, and you click on them. It's a very fascinating website.
Right.
And also Instagram, DG McCool Jr. _author. You can find Dale on Instagram as well.
Yes.
Anything else you want our viewers to know, or anything you want to say to our viewers?
Not really. The only thing I always say is if you feel like writing, write. Don't let anybody tell you can't do it. Don't be afraid to do it. When you get your manuscript to a point you need to do it, reach out to some people in some users groups before you pay a company a lot of money. Yeah. And of course you can always go traditional, but doing it indie, you make more money and you have more control.
Right. And getting a publisher, like Simon and Schuster or something, that would be almost impossible, I would imagine. So
it's not easy, right?
Well, you've inspired me in a few ways, Dale. One is how you're doing it with your headset and everything. And by the way, for our viewers, if you're going to be on our show, look at Dale's Zoom. It's the crispest, clearest Zoom we've had in a long time. I appreciate that, Dale. Thank you. I want to have you back. I'm going to get that first book, read it, and we'll talk about it another time.
All right. Well, thank you for the invite.
Let me go real quick. Your formats, are they on Kindle?
Yes. On the ebooks, they're on Kindle, on Amazon, and then also they're available as a ebook on Barnes & Noble, bookshop.org. A lot of people aren't aware of that site. Right. It's a great site, a lot of independent authors. But yes, so you can read them. But with Kindle, you can read Kindle with an application on your cell phone.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's nice. Yeah. I'm going to try that. I've not read a Kindle book ever because I'm like you, Dale. I like to hold that book.
Yes, absolutely.
We'll be back with more authors right after this. D.G. McCool Jr., indie author. I'm inspired by him. We'll be back with more Briggs on Books right after this.